Welcome back to the Care Innovation Studio. We're here with our next guest, James. James, would you like to tell us who you are and what you do?
Hello, nice to be here. I'm James Bullion. I'm the Chief Inspector for Adult Social Care and Integrated Care at the Care Quality Commission.
Perfect. So, let's talk a bit about care innovation then. What we were just chatting off camera about, visiting homes and families and carers. What's sticking out to you as innovative at the moment?
Well, I think one of the things about social care is it is an area of quite a lot of innovation which broadly falls into models and the way people work. So it's quite, in our inspection stuff we come across quite a lot of examples of where people are using a different way of working, deceptively simple as a concept, but makes a tremendous difference to people's experience of the quality of life. And then we also see quite a lot of technology stuff being incorporated into the way care is delivered or predicting about what risks people are facing. And then in the local authority world as well, you come across you rediscover that really wide definition of social care, that it isn't just about residential care homes and home care, it's also about getting a job, having a relationship, living a life, having ambitions for that life. And in doing that, of course, you need, like all of us, innovation, in the way that you live a life, really.
I think, innovation doesn't have to be 1,000% improvement with a huge bit of technology. Can it often be quite simple little things that make a
Often
difference?
the revolution is doing the simple things well and consistently. That is quite innovative. It doesn't always happen, does it? So it doesn't have to be, massively expensive or massively complicated.
So I guess from CQC's perspective, is there innovations that they're looking for? Is there expectations from when people are having inspections about what good innovation looks like? Is that
We've got a quality statement on innovation itself, so to some degree we do define into our framework what we're looking for. So we are looking for things that obviously make a difference to people, where you can see the impact on outcomes. We're looking at gathering good ideas so we can report on them, both in the individual reports about that particular service, but also in our publications that we have. So the state of care report that we do, or we sometimes do a bespoke publication like we have recently on dementia care, where we've talked about what good should look like and what some of the tools that people are using around innovating good care there would look like. So it's a range of things, really. We don't have a predetermined model. I suppose what it has in common right across all of our work is what would people say about the impact of that on their lives. So that's probably, we're looking for impact, we're looking for positive outcomes, and in that as well we're looking for fairness and an equitable outcome, because that's the other dimension, isn't it, about whether people are doing things that are applicable right across the population or across different areas.
So I suppose there's this idea of approaching innovation on an individual level, but then also on a kind of for the group of people that you're caring for as well.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the kind of trick and the challenge? How do you take an innovative idea, how do you scale it, but also how do you, as it were, make it applied to particular areas or particular groups? Sometimes innovations in relation to the general population might not fit a situation where a person's living with learning disability or autism, say, but the principle of that innovation, in theory, could apply and perhaps should apply.
I suppose within this sector, we're still, a lot of organisations are still doing things, for example, a digital rotoring system, where that's actually still a big innovation for many homes to make, and as far as I can see, it makes a huge improvement to the way that home runs, how efficiently they can run, how much staff they need, how much it costs them, how easy it is for the team members to switch shifts and do things like that. So I think you've got that issue where there's opportunity, isn't there, really, in that if you're not doing some of the basics, then those innovations are quite straightforward.
They are, in fact, although not always easy, but relatively straightforward. And when I come to conferences like the one where we're talking now, what strikes you as you walk around is the amount of innovation. And I've been at other care events where you've got some of the kit and the technology that you can get now, the washing machines that can speak to you literally and can connect through the internet, the degree of control that you can get now around your wheelchairs and things like that, your fridge, sometimes called the Internet of Things, wasn't it? And that seems to have died a bit of a death, that phrase. But in care, and to some degree in health, but certainly in social care, it's an amazing amount of stuff being invented. No one's commissioning that particularly, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Because it's happening. It's happening because there's a market for it, and it's happening because people are thinking through. So I think we need to really encourage that, and we need to think that social care it's at least 40 billion of public funding in the UK. Private funding is more again. It's an enormous opportunity, really, isn't it?
I mean, for most local authorities, it's easily the dominating budget line, isn't it? I think in my local authority in Buckinghamshire, it's about 56% or something.
Yeah.
Of it. And then I always find interesting is that, but then their capital expenditure is zero on that side of things. So I guess there is definitely a problem.
There's definitely a challenge, isn't there? And you're right. The revenue for adult social care and in fact children's social care, when you add them both up, they do sometimes account for 80% of what a local authority would be spending its revenue on. Mind you, they'd be collecting quite a lot of income from people because it means tested in adult social care as well. But the capital point you raise is a really interesting one, isn't it? Because if you think about a local authority or a corporation, what are they for? They are for the longevity, in a way, aren't they? Local councils have existed, unlike, if I might say, the health service, where you've got quite a lot of change since 1945. Most local authorities have been around for 40 years, since the current format. They'll be around for another 50. So if you think about issues like housing or roads or the environment, they're taking long-term thinking, aren't they? But social care really ought to be the same, didn't it? It ought to be part of our infrastructure when you think about it. And you can take a 50-year view, so why not use your capital in that sense and think about a return over that period of time?
Yeah, it does seem odd to me that if you're spending 60% of your revenue but then not spending any of it to invest in the future to reduce the cost or deliver a better service, because not every innovation reduces the cost, does it? Some of it just makes that service delivery better for the person at the end of it.
It does, yeah. And I think if I think about my own personal life, my sister Jackie is a couple of years older than me. She's got learning disabilities and cerebral palsy, and she's paraplegic, so she's no movement of her muscles below the waist. So she's had social care for, she's now 64, so she probably had it from the age of 5, 6, when mobility becomes more of an issue. If social services had thought then, we're going to give this woman support for 55 years. Let's think about what that will cost over 55 years and think about that quantum of cost and what we could do. What does it mean for housing, for support? You'd have quite a different way of approaching how you sort the care out, wouldn't you, than a kind of weekly think. And I think sometimes innovations occur, don't they, in thinking differently about a situation. That's what we need to encourage in social care, I think.
Maybe that's the innovation, is having a long-term mindset. And I guess a lot of the smaller, medium-sized businesses will have a long-term. They're building, 25 million £25 buildings.
Yeah,
they're going to last for 50, 60 years. And then every 15 years they're having to sort of renovate them, so they're accounting for that as
for
they
current
go.
Expectations. I mean, think of all those homes that were built without thinking about scooters, modern scooters, and all the kit and the technology that we now have, and the various pieces of equipment that you can use now. We wouldn't have designed them with that in mind, would we? Now we'd make the corridors wider and all the rest of it. Lovely.
Well, thank you very much. I've got one more question for you. Scones. cream then jam, or jam then cream?
Well, I have diabetes, so
Okay. Just cream then, or none at all?
I would probably not do the cream or the jam, but I am partial to a scone.
A savoury scone. You could have a.
I love savoury scones.
Cheese scone with a bit of ham in it.
Yeah, cheese and rosemary or some herbs in it. Lovely. Yeah.
Lovely. All right, well, brilliant. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for the chat.
We'll be back shortly.